Rabbi Meir Hecht is the Rav of Chabad of Evanston and the personal rabbi of Judith and Natalie Raanan, the first two hostages to be released. He's been a source of inspiration for Jews and non-Jews alike, and he's been ubiquitous on so many different media outlets. Rabbi Hecht, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Vin News.
My pleasure to be able to talk to the Haredi world.
Yes, exactly. And it's a big zchus, I think, for the Haredi world and for us to have you here. It's been a harrowing few weeks, needless to say, for the Raanan family and you and your community amongst the rest of Klal Yisrael. And of course, this past Erev Shabbos, we found out the incredible news. I'm curious how you found out, how you discovered and learned that the Raanans are being released. Were you given advance notice, or were you as shocked as the rest of us to hear the news?
First, I have to say that what Klal Yisrael is going through today, and the news that we all received on Simchas Torah, Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah, is just really painful. And when we're about to talk about the Nitzutzei Er, a little bit of glimpse of light, of Gilui Alikos, a little bit of the miracles that we're able to see through this Chayshech, the incredible painful darkness and galus that we're witnessing and Klal Yisrael is experiencing. So it's really, really important to first and foremost recognize that there are so many that in Klal Yisrael that are suffering and in pain, and the families of all the murdered and the families of the hostages themselves. It's hard to rejoice when we know what is really going on in Eretz Yisrael today. So that's first and foremost. We in Evanston have this close kesher to the hostage situation. As everyone knows, Judith and Natalie Raanan are members of our Chabad house. They come to our shul regularly. Primarily, the mother, Judith, is Judith, is a regular at our shul every Shabbos, Yom Tov, a really special part of our community. And when we got the news right after Yom Tov, when I turned on my phone, of course, like everyone throughout the Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah, the news slowly was trickling in, and we're hearing a little more, bigger numbers of Harugim, and starting to hear about hostages. And then right after Yom Tov, I turned on my phone, and someone sent me a picture from family members that had already said that they believe the Judith and Natalie to be hostages. So, of course, it was devastating for us all in a way that is much more personal, I would say, than just another name, although there is no one in Klal Yisrael who feels like it's just another. It's all our brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We did everything we can to try to get the community together, strengthen each other, to get the word out. We sent out a notice on by email and on our Facebook that members of our Kehillah appear to be part of the hostages in Gaza, and we're asking everyone to please daven for them. That notice somehow made its way to a news anchor here in Chicago, who called me the next day and asked if he'd come talk about it. I said, sure. He comes by and we do this little brief interview. And next thing I know, I'm getting calls from news anchors from all the local television stations. They all want to talk about an interview.
And just to get the time frame, I'm sorry to interrupt. That was right after Simchas Torah. That was on Monday.
So that would have been on the first call was on Monday. And by Tuesday, it was out of control.
Right. Okay.
So and I realized at that moment that I have a unique opportunity, and really it's a responsibility to bring a message, to share a message with whatever networks are going to come my way, and to talk about Yiddishkeit, to talk about Emunas Hashem, to talk about Bitachon, to talk about Tefillah and the power of Tefillah, anything that can inspire people, both first and foremost, our brothers, Acheinu B'nai Yisrael, and beyond that, all of the world should hear a message, an uplifting message. At some point, I was contacted by CNN, and this was the Caitlin Collins show. I know nothing about CNN. This is the first time I heard of that particular show. And I was asked if I could do a live interview on television, and to which I agreed. And doing that show made me realize that I have a responsibility to speak about Torah, Mitzvos, and to speak about bitachon and the power of tefillah, which I did. Many of you have seen that clip. And then little by little, the story started spreading. Back to Friday, this last Friday, we started hearing the news, that little trickles right after Hamas announced that they were releasing hostages on their Telegram channel. Within minutes after someone had messaged me, luckily I got a first message, advance notice, because then my phone didn't stop ringing. Every network and channel, not only local, literally from around the world, was calling to see if I had any information, which I had no real information at the time. That's exactly.
You found out about it basically through the media, like everybody else?
Yeah, for all practical purposes. I mean, eventually it got confirmation from the family, but the media was on it long before the family got formal confirmation.
Sure.
Well, not long before. It was a span of about an hour, I should say.
Right.
So just to backtrack for a moment before talk about what happened next. After I did this CNN interview, I got quite a few communications from random people around the country, all in the US, both Jews and non-Jews alike. I got phone calls, I got random emails of people who said to me that they were so inspired they never hear anyone on CNN say the kind of things that I said. And it was so inspiring and uplifting. And please, Rabbi, if you can do more of that on CNN. This is the kind of message that I got from random people around the country who I've never met or heard of before.
Jews or even non-Jews?
Both Jews and non-Jews alike.
I felt that when I saw you making these appearances, I said, wow, what a conduit. Somebody, a Shlichus HaMakom, who is spreading a message that people are so desperate to hear because we're in such tar, and doing it so eloquently, articulately, and with such clarity and MS.
Thank you. I felt like this was a unique shlichus from the Rabbi Shalom that was given to me at this time, and I felt like I have to do it. Like no one else is being given the platform to do it. I'm being given the platform. How could I not do this? What's expected of me at this time?
Wow.
So I spoke to a few friends who know a thing or two about media just to get a couple tips, and it went from there, from one to the next. But on Friday, after the news came out, by about, I think the confirmation was maybe around 1 o'clock Chicago time, 2 o'clock Eastern, approximately, something like that. I was in my car doing carpool, pick up my kids from school. My phone is ringing nonstop from all kinds of networks. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't have confirmation. I spoke to the family. They hadn't heard yet anything confirmed. By the time I got home with my kids from school, I already had reporters swarming at my house.
Wow.
So from there, I just told reporters, yeah, sure, come, and whatever. And I'll talk to you. I'll say something. It was about 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And I was inside trying to get the house ready for Shabbos. And I told the reporter they'll come out soon to speak to. I had to gather some thoughts together. I had to prepare myself a little bit. By the time I came outside my house, there was a full press conference set up that I had not expected, didn't ask for, and had nothing to do with. But again, like I said, it felt like, okay, they put all these cameras and microphones in front of me. I don't have a choice. I have to speak and give a message to the world. So I did that. And at the same time, I'm getting calls from CNN, BBC, and other networks asking if I could do live interviews. So many of you have seen the Jake Tapper interview that was done on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Every time it was around 4 o'clock Chicago time.
Wow.
Very close to Shabbos. And just after that, I did a second interview before Shabbos with the Caitlin Collins show that had interviewed me a few days earlier, the one that many of you had seen. They wanted to do a follow-up. I told them that I have to do it before Shabbos, and that they have to say on air, make it clear that it was taped before Shabbos.
Good point.
It's I don't know how many of you saw that clip. I wasn't even sure if it would eventually air, but after Shabbos they sent me the clip from CNN, and I was really very touched when I saw that clip actually air. So first of all, this is a CNN anchor on air in front of millions of people saying that I had a chance to speak with Rabbi Hecht before the Sabbath began by him.
Wow. And by the way, I'll just interject for a second. Jake Tapper, and we're going to get to more of what he discussed with you later, the Ruchnius aspect of it, but he actually said, have a good Sabbath at the end of his interview with you. It's surreal. I'm watching CNN, watching you in your full garb, by the way, watching you with the hat on your head, and he's telling you have a good Sabbath. It's fascinating. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, that was something that I couldn't have asked for that any better, but he did it. And like you mentioned, the Ruchnius, he said he'll talk about that soon.
Yeah.
I want to just get back to the Caitlin Collins for a moment.
Yeah.
The CNN show. Before interviewing me, she told me, she said, Rabbi, I want you to know that after we had you on the show, we got incredible feedback from people who were tremendously inspired by your message. And therefore, I wanted to make sure that we could talk to you again.
Wow.
She said that to me off the air, but then later on, and I didn't even realize, she actually said it on air. And I'll read to you for a moment. I have it in front of me. You can watch it. The clip is online, and she says this on air. First, at the beginning of the recording, she says that it was recorded. I had a chance to speak with Rabbi Hecht before the Sabbath began. And then towards the end of the clip, she says, Rabbi Meir Hecht, we got so many positive responses after we spoke to you the first time. So having you on tonight is really special. I felt like, I'm trying to give a message that should inspire people. And here an anchor on CNN is saying that indeed between all this choshech, all this darkness that they're promoting on these networks, the anchor herself is saying that people are inspired by a little bit of Kedusha that is sneaking its way through the airwaves of CNN.
A lot of Kedusha, and from a very pure heart. But yeah, this is really, it's riveting. It's absolutely riveting. And we keep seeing this. We keep seeing that among a tremendous amount of darkness and tsar, so much Kiddush Hashem, so much Achdus, but your role in this, your unique role in this is very, very powerful.
Thank you. So then the next thing, also Erev Shabbos, I did a live BBC interview.
And you're getting close to Shabbos there. It's amazing.
It was, but that was only half the story. The other half of the story is we're trying to get our house ready for Shabbos. I have a house full of kids, Baruch Hashem. I can't go to an office or anywhere because I need to be home. I have all these networks, reporters outside my house. So I need to do these interviews in my dining room. And the kids have to hide in some rooms that it's quiet enough to do a TV interview. But this is really the most interesting part, is that the reporters that were outside said to me, Rabbi, can we come and join your services tonight? Now, obviously, I couldn't have reporters at my Shabbos services. So, but I thought to myself, 1 minute, they want to come and be a part of our, they want to broadcast Shabbos to the world. How could I say, I need to figure out a way to do this. So I went and I discussed it with my wife, and we say, you know what? We're making a candle lighting vigil, Erev Shabbos, lighting Shabbos candles. We're going to have them come in, and right after candle lighting, we're setting them all out of the house. And so we told the reporters, Lichtenstein was 5:40, 5:42. He said 5:35 sharp. Everyone's invited inside, and you're going to come in for 10 minutes, and you have to go out of the house. And they all said fine. We had about 25 plus TV crews, and besides TV, there were also newspapers, and AP was there. There's beautiful pictures of this candle lighting that were put in papers around the world. There's a huge, beautiful picture printed in the next morning in the Chicago Sun-Times of my wife and daughter lighting Shabbos candles, and the images of Shabbos candle lighting was broadcast throughout the world. So this while we're doing these live interviews, getting the house ready for Shabbos, our house all of a sudden had to be turned over for 25 plus teams of media networks that came into the house for candle lighting. And we had guests coming, and it was topsy-turvy to say the least, but it was an unbelievable Kiddush Hashem, because we were able to broadcast lighting of Shabbos candles. And I spoke about how the light of the light of Shabbos brings in menucha into the world, and I gave a message of what Shabbos is all about, and the Ur over Chayshech. You never know which pieces are picked up by which network, but that was most of the message that I tried to convey as we're lighting the Shabbos candles. And you see the imagery of my wife and daughter and all the Yiddish women that were there, who lit Shabbos candles in my dining room before Shabbos, in TV and newspapers all around the world.
Amazing. It sends shivers down your spine. And the fact that they're embracing Yiddishkeit and they're embracing, the Ruchnius the way they are, shows you probably how impacted a lot of these journalists are, and they recognize the incredible significance and chashivos. Like I said, I do want to get to some more Jake Tapper, but before that, I know you had a chance to speak with Judith and Natalie since their release at least once, if not more. Are you able to describe to some degree what that was like? I heard you say in an interview that you can't reveal all the details, but what it was like, what details you are able to reveal, what their state of mind is right now and their family.
Yeah, so like you said, I can't say too much. We've spoken a number of times, and we're in touch.
Wow.
The first conversation was on Matzah Shabbos. Obviously, we couldn't speak before that. It was Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael.
Wow.
On Matzah Shabbos late in the night, when it was Sunday morning in Eretz Yisrael, my wife and myself had this beyond belief opportunity to speak with Judith. I could say that the moment that we heard her voice on the phone is probably one of the most incredible, joyous, and moving moments of my life. And something that is, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's almost like hearing someone like Mechaya Mason. Right. It's not Matir Asurim is such a low level, right, for someone who's in the hands of Hamas. You never know if you're ever going to see them again, if they're even alive, right? Right. To hear their voice, it's like Mamish Mechaya Mason. That's what went through my head. And I felt like I'm literally talking to this open miracle, a Nes Goloi that's on the other side of the line. She expressed this really powerful strength of character, how she was defiant for Kedusha, not giving in. I don't want to give it away too many details, but really, really strong in terms of not letting her bitachon in Hashem waver for even a moment. Wow. She told us that she was absolutely certain that she was going to get out. It wasn't a question, because Hashem is with her. Like, her emunah and bitachon was was absolute the entire time. And it was really out of worldly. It's very hard to describe.
Yeah, I'm sure. Unbelievable. I mean, really, truly things that we never imagined we'd be discussing or seeing, and here you are. But that's amazing. All right, so as I said, you spoke with Jake Tapper on Friday, and I watched it, and he was clearly distraught and he's been distraught. I've been, following Jake Tapper for the last few weeks, particularly because he clearly, it seems to be very sincere that he's distraught about the whole horrific situation. He's very emotional. It's very clear that this is hitting him in a very deep place. And he let that out with you. He said, as a rabbi, he said, listen, I'm a journalist, so I ask tough questions. As a rabbi, how can you make sense of all this? And I thought your response, was incredible, especially responding to the most, perhaps the most difficult philosophical hashkafic question that anybody can ask you. And he was asking you on live television. Like, were you taken aback by that question? And what went through your head? Tell us about that.
Taken aback is an understatement. I was blown away. As he's asking the question, I'm thinking in my head, like, whoa, what are you doing to me? This is so unfair. You're putting me in the hot seat, and I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But inside, I thought to myself, I said, Hashem, at this moment, I have an opportunity to give over the emunas Hashem, to give over an amazing amount of hashgacha elyoina that allowed me to just share the light of Hashem at this moment. Please put the words into my mouth that I need to say. And I didn't even know what I said until I watched it later. So I'm glad it's something that was cohesive and made sense, because on the moment I had no clue what I said. I was just like, Hashem, give me the words, because I don't know how to answer this question.
It was more than cohesive. It was beyond cohesive. Yeah, you spread a message of, while accepting and being macabre the question, like I said, the impossible age-old question. It was a beautiful answer. I watched it a couple of times, and if I may say so, I think it was perfect. I think he, from what I could tell, was macabre it. And again, these are things that are so far beyond us. All right, Rabbi Hecht, I will let you go on that note. Rabbi Meir Hecht, I just have to tell you, as we mentioned earlier, HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose you for a certain shlichus over here. That's not me having any kind of Ruach HaKodesh. That's just what we're all seeing. And speaking to you, and even before I spoke to you, seeing you, on all the different appearances you made, I can't understand the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we can all see very clearly that you are impacting maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, it's possible millions of people, and helping us cope with something, and not just cope with something, but grow from a situation of such darkness, bringing the light. And it's just amazing. I really have just such admiration, and I really wanted to tell you, how grateful I am.
Thank you. It's really a moment of katainti. It's something that I was not prepared for, never dreamt of, and don't know why I was chosen for this. But I did recognize when it was thrown on my lap that it's my responsibility, and I tried to my best to do it as best as I can. I'm a chassid, I'm a shliach of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe always taught that in the hardest moments, it's our responsibility to bring oir at a time of chayshach. Before the 6-Day War, when the whole world was reeling in fear and thought that it's going to be another Holocaust, that was the feeling at the time, and everyone who was there talks about it in that way. The Rebbe got up in public in front of the whole world and said that there's going to be nisim v'neflois, and we're going to win, and Am Yisrael is going to come out on the top. But in order to do that, we need to strengthen the Torah mitzvahs. And the Rebbe asked the children to daven and to increase their mitzvahs. This was by a Lag Baimer parade, and the Rebbe asked all of Am Yisrael. That was when the Rebbe began the tefillin campaign, Mitzvah Tefillin, where Chabad Chassidim go around and put on tefillin with Yidden who otherwise wouldn't do it. At that time, before the 6-Day War, hundreds of thousands of Jews in Eretz Yisrael put on tefillin for their first time in a very long time. There was an incredible Osiris was broadcast in all the media at the time. Today, we're seeing the same thing. The Osiris of Klal Yisrael to increase and strengthen Torah mitzvahs at this time is beyond belief. I just heard a story today that an organization offered any soldier that wants to wear tzitzis, they're going to give them a pair for free. They got rid of they distributed 50,000 pairs of tzitzis in no time.
Wow.
Because everyone wants. I've heard that there's nowhere to buy tefillin in Eretz Yisrael because every last pair is being taken by people who are making the commitment to start putting on tefillin. Shmiras Kashrus, Shmiras Shabbos, and things that there's a Osiris by Klal Yisrael in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time. Maybe in all of our lifetime. And all I could say is that I have no doubt that all of this is leading to better times, and we really, Klal Yisrael deserves the peace and harmony to see Mashiach, the days of Mashiach, the times of a Geula, Mitzvos Shlema. There should be no more pain, no more suffering, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that even though Hayinu lag v'keles b'goyim, and we've had Tevach, and the worst is already behind us, but Shimcha lo shachachnu, that is certain. So no al tishkachenu, we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, take us out of Galus.
Amen. We'll leave it on that note. Rabbi Meir Hecht, Rav of Chabad of Evanston, and an extremely, extremely special person. Thank you so much for being here on the VIN podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.